Right, we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm so glad to be here again today, and I'm so happy. It's day 6 already. Okay, so let's talk about this real quick. I'm not going to take a lot of time because I'm still going to go live on Family Libraries TV. I have a few things I want to talk about. Um, with the married. Okay, so today let's talk about honing your power over praise and criticism. Remember, we're still talking about the grace that we need to help the people that God has committed into our hands, or people that God will commit into your hands in this generation and in the generation to come. Remember, God is counting on you, God is counting on me for us to be able to help someone out there. And I just asked the Holy Spirit to help us today so that we can see this and so that we can have a change or better improve or be able to help others even with this word today in Jesus' name. All right. So the power and the ability to control or take charge basically is in your hand. So if you're going to control something, if you're going to take charge of something, the power is in your hand. The power is in my hand. Remember, I think I mentioned it some days ago that you can't control other people, but you can really control yourself. You can control what goes on in you, and you can control few things around you. But things that you can't control is the other person, how other people feel, what other people think, what other people say. You really cannot control that. And if you can't control that, then you should hone it. You should keep your strength. You should keep your power. Because when people don't live up to our expectation, we tend to be unhappy. And it takes so much energy to be unhappy about things. You don't want to waste your energy on not being happy about things that you can't control. And actually, we grew to that point for so many years. I live in that stress of trying to control things, in worry of trying to control things that I can actually not control. So I don't know if you are at that point now, but know that the people you are going to be teaching, the younger people you are going to be teaching, they are probably at that point. They are worried about so many things. Like a young girl, a teenager, or a preteen will worry about how they look and what people think about how they look or what people say about how they look. But your ability to help them understand that they can't control that depends on if you yourself actually have the capability to control your own life, right? So you are not into mentorship or relationship to get what you don't have from people that should give you. So it's really unfair to demand praise you don't get from your parents or your spouse or at work from your boss, from the people that God has placed in your life to lead or to guide or to mentor, as the case may be. So let's look at it this way. A lot of us, when we were young, well, when I was young, I make it intentional today to praise my children, because when I was young, I don't remember being praised as I should or as I expect in some ways. So when I was growing and when I got married, I expect praise from my husband consistently. You will know, and you might not know because we are not the same. If you don't grow up living with a father, the father is the hero of every girl child. The father is the one that validates you. The father is the one that affirms you. So when you don't grow up living with your father, the person that should validate you, the person that should be your hero, then something will be missing. So as I was growing up, I don't really remember the only time that you will be praised and not praised like that is maybe you do some things, you do some chores that you were told to do, or sometimes some of those chores sometimes you just feel like it's your responsibility, which is true, it's your responsibility. But we don't know how much when we praise our children for little things, for little help that they do for us, we don't know how long that will take them in their career, in their marriage, in their relationship. Because when we miss the praise that we're supposed to get from our parents, we demand it from friends, right? We demand it from our spouse. We demand it from people that does not hold us. That's the truth. These other people, they don't hold you the praise that your parent did not give you. So we demand so much from people that are not owing us those praise. How can we move past that? We are going to talk about it in this short video. So people can change. Humans are not stable. So if you depend on the praise of people to function, you will become dysfunctional the day they criticize you. Let me say that again. People can change. Humans are not stable. So if you depend on the praise of human being, even if it's your parents, even if it's your spouse, even if it's your children, if you depend on their praise for you to function, the day they criticize you, you become dysfunctional. And that is not how we want to live our life as leaders. That is not how we want to live our lives as mentor. That is not how we want to live our life as people that God is committing the lives of others into their hands to be able to lead them and guide them, even as God will be guiding them. Jesus, everything they did to him, the Bible says he did not respond. Guess why? It's embedded in the fact that he knows who he is. And that's the beautiful thing. Jesus knew who he is. So he doesn't bother about when they press him. He was entering. They put down their palm, their clothes, everything. They lay everything down for him, right? And he was riding donkey into Jerusalem. And before you know it, in a twinkling of an eye, those same people, they said, just crucify him. I'll crucify him, right? What does that tell us? It tells us that people's praise cannot be depended on. We cannot, the praise of people cannot be the reason for what we do. The praise of your mentee, the person, you will be surprised that the people that God has placed in your hands to lead, this happens to a lot of pastors, and they get hungry, they are unhappy, because they feel, oh, those people should appreciate me. Those people should appreciate me better. You should be able to do this for me, right? If we're not careful, we become entitled unnecessarily from the people that God has committed into our hands. And I'm not saying that we should not appreciate our pastors, we should not appreciate our leaders, we should not appreciate our mentors. We should. I make it a point of duty to do that to the people that have been a blessing to me, that have poured their life into my life. I make it a point of duty to bless them, even in my own way, whether big or whether little. Because some of the people that God has placed in my life, they don't really need anything from me, but when I give them, it's a blessing. But when you don't get from the people that God will place in your life to mentor, you should not depend on that. And don't be surprised. I've seen a lot of pastors getting angry and being unhappy with what church members said about them. People will say, get ready for it. If you're going to mentor young people, you will get more from it. Don't be surprised at all. So you should be ready to hear more criticism. You should be ready to hear more praise. But whichever one you get, you should be ready to remain stable. And the solution is what we're going to talk about now. I was I was going to read something to us, but I'm going to leave it. So, what is the solution? If you will pour into others with resentment when they don't praise you, or depression when they criticize you, you have to learn to take responsibility for your happiness. And this might be strange to codependent people, but it's okay. There is something in psychology that we call codependency. This happens a lot in romantic relationships. We and this is probably one of the main problem of what we see in marriage and in other relationship. Your happiness, codependency, is you trying to control how the atmosphere in the relationship will make you happy. Meaning that if the other person is happy, you will be happy. If the other person is sad, you will be sad. And so you do everything, including the one that is not convenient for you, to make sure the other person is happy. Whereas it's not, again, it is not your responsibility to make another person happy. It is my responsibility to be happy. It is the other person's responsibility to be happy. And if you're not delivered from codependency, I have so many videos on Family Libera's TV channel, on YouTube, where you can actually learn about codependency. I have lots of video on them. Most of my research are on domestic violence and family life. So you can always find a lot of information, and you can read so many of them online as well. Just make sure that it's from a credible source. So when you are not free from codependency yet, then you will really depend on the praise of the people. And when they criticize you, you'll become depressed. That is not the best way to live life. So you have to unlearn it. You have to unlearn waiting for on others for you to breathe. You have to start learning doing things for yourself that will make you happy. And you also have to see this, that God is giving you the opportunity when somebody in your life have a need for mentorship. There might not even be people in your life. There might be people that you know in your environment. There might be some of the people that we might give you to mentor. There might be some of the people that you chose by yourself to mentor. They might be even someone in your family. They might be your sister, they might be your younger brother, they might be your cousin, there might be people around you that God has placed into your hands to mentor. You have to start doing whatever you have to do for them. One, you don't have to do it sacrificially if it's not convenient for you. But so much more, you have to learn to see what you do for them as God using you to do it for them. That way, it becomes easier for you to skip it when they don't praise you. And it's very essential that we all learn to start taking care of ourselves. This is very important. See, if you don't take care of yourself, this is the problem with codependent people, or people that really depend on others' praise for them to function. When you are doing something, it's very essential for you to first take care of yourself, and don't do things that is not convenient for you. Unless God instructs you to do something that is not convenient for you, don't do things that is not convenient for you if it's not convenient for you, and it's really okay. All right. So if you will do that, you are really equipping yourself to be a good mentor for young people that God is committing into your hands. So my challenge for you today will be to ask yourself, how do I feel when I'm being praised? And how do I feel when I'm being criticized? There are some people, they are just haters. They are going to criticize you negatively, no matter what you do, either positive, either negative. And for some people, they are going to praise you. Even when they know what you are doing is wrong, they are still going to praise you. And this will happen even with you and the person you are mentoring, that is your mentee. This will happen because sometimes some of them don't want to offend you. And so they even praise you when you say something or do something that does not even align to their own value. And that's why one of the first things that we'll talk about in this journey is knowing our own value. And those are some of the things that we will also be teaching our mentees, also the young girls that God will be committing into our hands, that they know their own value. When you understand your own value, when you know what you want, when people do something against that value, you can easily challenge them with love. You can correct them with love. That we are older than people, or that God has committed people into our hands, or God has asked you to submit yourself to someone else like we do in discipleship, does not mean we cannot correct one another when we do not do it right. Especially when God give you the understanding and God give you the permission to actually help other people to grow. Because we are all learning and we are all growing. And so when we see something wrong, we can all view it from our own angle. In dialectic behavioral therapy, one of the therapy that we help people with, especially people who are suicidal, um, is the fact that we should be able to see things in a 6 or 9 way, depending on where you are standing. That is, we should see things from perception. So the same way, and how is that example important? Is important because how we see life will be different. People don't know you, especially when it comes online. You don't know me, I don't know you. So whatever you say about me, it's your problem. Whatever people say about you, it's their problem. It's not yours. So it's essential when you're working with someone in a close term like mentee and mentor relationship, it's different. But how you can easily walk through whatever you see is to start seeing things from perception. So you should allow people to tell you the way they see things, then I will tell you the way I see things. You can both come together to a space of win-win, where you can say, okay, I'm wrong, I'm right, you are right, or I'm wrong, you are wrong, or I'm right, you are wrong, or I'm wrong, you are right. We have to learn to get to the space where we can actually balance things so that we can have a win-win experience. Remember, I said mentorship, mentee or mentors relationship, it's not a boss relationship. It's a relationship that help you to guide people into bringing out the best in them, into bringing out the best in the younger person. God does not see the way we see, but he looks at the heart. So because God looks at the heart, he sees us how we are according to what he wants us to be and what we have become. Now, God is using so many people. God has used so many people for me. God also wants to use you for one young person out there to guide them into becoming that person that God sees. So no matter how they behave now, no matter how you behave now, God does not really see you in that light. He's seeing you. That's why he doesn't give up on you. He's seeing you in the light of the person, in the perfection of Christ that is walking on and that you're walking towards and that you will eventually become. That is how he's seeing you. So how do you feel? Do you see yourself the way God sees you, in spite of what people say or what people think? Or do you see yourself in the light of that? That's the challenge for today. Think about it. Sit down, write it down, How do I feel when people don't praise me? How do I feel when people criticize me? That people praise you also does not mean you're doing everything right. And that people criticize you does not mean you're doing everything wrong. So you have to think about it. Am I really doing something wrong? Am I really doing something right? The people God will commit into your hands to mentor eventually, they will praise you, they will criticize you. So get ready for it. It takes a while for me to learn this, and I'm still learning to be gentle with myself. When I look at it, what this person said, is it correct? Okay, it's correct. I'm working towards it. Oh, it's not correct. I'm moving past it. But whether correct or whether wrong, I remain the same. It does not stop me from keep doing what God has committed into my hands to do. God is expecting so much from you. God is expecting so much from me because He has invested so much in you. He has invested so much in me. So He's expecting us to do the same for other people. Thank you so much for joining me today. I thought we won't spend much time, but we spent 21 minutes. Thank you, everyone. And I will see you in the next one. God bless you and have a wonderful Sunday.